Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. Tonight is Thursday, February 14th, 2013, V-Day. And I'm your host, Aaron Dykes. Now, tonight in the news, we have, of course, the aftermath of the Christopher Dorner episode. It ended in spectacular abandon for due process, spectacular incitement of divisions in our society, with many people cheering on the factions warring against the LAPD, while others cheering on the extrajudicial killing of Christopher Dorner. Of course, Breitbart and Drudge Report exposed how many of the CNN panel hosts cheered it and celebrated, said it was exciting like a Denzel Washington movie, and compared Dorner to Django Unchained going on a killing spree. Meanwhile, Melissa Melton wrote yesterday about the 3 wallets with ID cards that were reportedly recovered, all belonging to Christopher Dorner, which raised their own questions. One of them was allegedly found, of course, at the Big Bear cabin, apparently not scorched by the fires set by police and sheriffs there. Yet 2 other IDs were found in southern parts of California, one by a stadium in San Diego and another at the border crossing point. And so which wallet is the real one? Are any of them real? Do the media have any grasp on the facts? And do these raise further questions the way the passports allegedly recovered from the 9/11 hijackers do about the veracity of 9/11? And of course, you got the police wantonly firing upon innocent civilians, endangering their lives, recklessly pursuing this one man they couldn't catch for days, nearly a week. But of course, the biggest questions of all over Christopher Dorner are raised over the ludicrous claims that the cabin fire was not intentionally set. Paul Joseph Watson writes about the denial on behalf of the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office, specifically stating that it was not set on purpose, saying we didn't intentionally burn that cabin to get Mr. Dorner out. And they just went on to deny it and defer questions from the press and duck other questions about whether they offered him a chance to surrender or what name you, despite the fact that audio was broadcast live on many of these local stations, exist in the police recordings, talking about burn that MFer down, talking about the CS gas they were throwing in there, talking about how the burners are deployed. We have the fire ready. Now, we have clips summing up some of this audio and, of course, the ridiculous denial. Can we go to that? Do we have that ready, guys?
We do believe this gun battle is going on with Christopher Dorner. He is armed and extremely dangerous.
How sure are they that this is Dorner?
Well, we're not positive, and until we get this guy in custody, until he's in handcuffs and in a jail, we're not going to know for sure.
We believe suspect Dorner began firing and ambushed our deputy sheriffs that were responding. 2 of our deputy sheriffs were struck by gunfire. Certainly it could be anywhere at this point, and that's why we're searching door to door.
We spoke to individuals in that neighborhood who said that no one ever knocked on that door, on their doors, people who live there.
As I said, there was an extensive search in that area.
Burn the gas, burn the gas, burn the gas. Hey, hold it, get out, get the F out. Is anyone founded if they think that this was an intentional burning alive of the suspect?
I don't know, really how to respond to the recordings.
They have not been able to determine who started the fire inside the cabin, whether it was the suspect, presumably Dorner, or if it was perhaps one of the things that the SWAT team out there had planned in advance of this.
I can tell you that it was not on purpose. We did not intentionally burn down that cabin.
Careful, we're just bringing fire in about 200 yards out. Your call. Charlie, you ready for fire? 61 Charlie, this normally the negative.
We used the next tier gas was that was pyrotechnic. Does generate a lot of heat. We introduced those canisters into the residence.
There was some chatter that was caught, I guess, on the scanners and everything about a burner, and I don't know what that is. Can you explain what a burner is?
The pyrotechnic type canisters are commonly referred to as burners.
7 burners deployed and we have a fire.
Copy, 7 burners deployed and we have a fire.
Get going right now. Burn this one.
And so there you have it, the government, aspects of the government, and again engaged in a Waco-style burning down of a suspect, demonizing him in the press, burning and killing him. We'll never know if he was really guilty of all these crimes because, of course, there won't be a real investigation. It's just this public trial. But then the denial, oh, that was semantics. Burner, that didn't mean fire. Saying burn it down, that didn't mean burn it down. Fire, that just means they were excited. Gas, that's some kind of antiquated 60s term. It's a gas, baby. That was just the way SWAT people talk on the scene. It doesn't mean they meant to start a fire, even though they started a fire and then it burned him down and allegedly killed him. Of course, you saw also in that clip the former FBI assistant director, Tom Fuentes. He was asked to explain why they were talking about burning it down if, in fact, they didn't mean to burn it down. He was at a loss to explain and said, well, there's a lot of questions to answer, and he wouldn't expect these professional SWAT people to talk that way, and then quickly shuffle on to how those conversations should have been on encrypted radio frequencies so the public couldn't hear them and raise questions about why things were burned down. Again, they burned him down on purpose because they do that over and over again, partially to sell you the message that the government's in charge and don't try to go against them. Of course, the things Dorner's accused of doing were horrible, and he was very much a villain despite the portrayals of him as a hero because he has a manifesto and because the LAPD are, in fact, corrupt. Well, if the police would stop protecting police who do bad things, individuals, and protecting them through their police unions and making sure they never see justice, the public wouldn't be turned against the police. They could celebrate the police who are law-abiding, upholding of public safety, and they could just simply punish the police who are doing the wrong things. But instead, they have to gang up and defend the bad police and make them all bad by association, and then the public gets angry at them and cheers on an anti-hero like Dorner. It's just insane. Let's not do that, folks. Let's just live by the law. Meanwhile, drones, Dorner and the NDA, Kurt Nemo sums up an article about how lobbyists for the drone industry from the Association for Unmanned Vehicles Systems International said things might have been a lot different if we had more drones in the sky, if the FAA wasn't being burdened by these, quote, privacy concerns, saying, basically decrying the fact they've been delayed for months by people worried about drones and the violation of the Fourth Amendment. No, let's throw that all out. Let's throw the baby out with the bathwater because there might be a few individual sickos in society, so we need to not have due process so we can hunt them down. And again, that comes on the heels of Paul Joseph Watson's article. New surveillance system tracks every moving object in an entire city. They've got a state-of-the-art spy system housed in a drone that can hover at 20,000 feet and claims to be able to record every moving object in an entire city. That's a DARPA project, increasingly like Skynet, as they prepare for a total surveillance occupation of America. And, of course, they find that a majority of Americans support drone strikes in a new poll that, of course, refers to overseas strikes in Yemen or Pakistan. But you can see where they're setting the stage for weaponized drones to be used here in America on top of surveillance drones. So, again, they're using the Dorner event to hype up for more surveillance, more drones.